There was a barber and his wife, and she was beautiful.
There was a barber and his wife. All right, so I just wanted to come on today to talk about how good Sweeney Todd, the 2008 movie is. I think my contention and the reason for doing this video is I just wish more people watch this movie, because as I said to you, like, I'm constantly thinking about the songs. I constantly reference it to people and they look at me like I'm fucking nuts. Talked about the Wonka movies last week. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. But during that, I talked about Tim Burton's version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And then ever since then, I've just had this painful itch. And it has been this itch to watch Sweeney Todd again. I love this movie. I think this is the tits. I think this is the best movie musical adaptation we have. And I say that with confidence. I know it's dark. I know it's weird. I know it's like a hard recommendation. Like it is, right? Like, hey, do you want to watch this musical where all the song numbers sound like they're constantly trying to catch up with the tempo?
Well, it does seem a waste.
As always, Mrs. Lovett, how I've lived without you all these years, I'll never know.
It's half rapped, but not really, because rap wasn't around back then, so it's just really fast singing.
Oh, Mr. Sweeney, whoever, I beg your pardon, you'll probably say it was only a cardinal. No.
And in the movie, they basically murder people and then feed them as pies. Like that's the plot, really, right? It's hard to recommend, but the thing is, when you watch the movie, there is so much good about it. First off, there is a great love triangle, love story, whatever you want to call it, going on. This movie has a serious case of that phenomenon they talk about in sitcoms where everyone's kind of like romantically linked. Like, this movie is the most horny, non-sex movie I think I've ever seen. Two things that make me want to recommend this movie, and it's not what you'd think. First off, I think the song numbers go hard.
Demons will charm you with a smile for a while, but in time
They go fucking nuts.
We'll serve anyone, meaning anyone, and to anyone at all.
Secondly, I actually think this movie at its core is like deeply romantic. And I know what the movie looks like. I know how bloody it is. I know what they do. But oh my God, this movie is so soaked in longing and love and unrequited love and living in the past and not valuing what you have now. And it's obsessed. It's so good. All right. Like, this guy likes this guy's daughter, and this one likes this guy, but he has a widowed wife, and this one kidnapped his wife, but then really likes his daughter, but that makes him feel icky. Like, so good. So we'll get into all of that, because the story is a bit like chaotic, right? It's a bit like when you really like lay it out, you're like, oh my God. So we're going to get into some of my favorite moments of this movie, why I like it. I think we're going to have a spoiler-free section, then we're going to have a spoiler section. Let's go. First off, I love the introduction. I love the way this movie looks. It looks so good. It's got that Tim Burton timelessness. It's not like his Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remake where it's aged a bit. It still looks great. Doesn't look as good as something like Edward Scissorhands, but not many movies can. I think this movie looks great. There aren't too many effects that look bad. I love the use of practical blood. Oh my God. The blood in this movie, when someone gets killed in this movie, it is like, especially first time someone gets killed in this movie and it like holds where you expect it to cut, and it's just this intense bloody moment. It's great, and it throws you into the trajectory of the movie, because at that point you haven't seen anything that bad, and then you're like, oh my God, this is what we're doing. It's great. I love the use of color here. Obviously, it's very blunt with its use of color, right? The current day, with everything that's happened to Sweeney, everything is black and white and miserable, and we only leave the black and white misery like once or twice, really, and that is once to show what Sweeney Todd was like before the judge fucked him over. So we see him as Benjamin Barker, right? We see him briefly in flashback, really happy with his gorgeous, rich, lovely wife, right? And then everything in the present day is him after his wife was taken from him, after he was falsely imprisoned, and the world is grey and black to him, right? Like, easy symbolism, we get it. But oh my God, you like forget, right? And then you get to that amazing sequence where his new chick, Helena Bonham Carter, is picturing a life with him, and it's all colorful and lovely and like oversaturated, and it's such a stark contrast to everything you've seen at this point, except for the blood. The blood is the only like color in this movie. The flashback and the fantasy sequence are so effective in their use of color because the rest of the movie is so completely desaturated. It's a nice break from the rest of the movie. All right, so in Sweeney Todd, let's quickly run through the plot.
There was a barber and his wife.
There was a barber and his wife. So the characters are Benjamin Barker, aka Sweeney Todd. So Benjamin Barker is dating Lucy in the past, right? They seem like very lovely, picturesque, gorgeous family. I believe they have a kid at that point. And then the judge, played by Alan Rickman, wants his wife. So he gets Benjamin Barker falsely imprisoned on a crime he didn't commit. He basically drives the wife mad. So basically he takes advantage of Lucy, forces Lucy to essentially be romantically involved with him, tries to sexually assault her at a party, and then it drives her mad and she kills herself. Quick side note, I think the way that they handle the sexual assault in this movie is really like tastefully done. There's been a lot of criticism of like overly done sexual assault scenes recently, and I think it gets the point across. Yeah, I watched this movie when I was like 10 or 12 or something, and I remember when that happened, it's like I didn't get exactly what was going on, but I was like, okay, he's covered her with a blanket and they're all watching and laughing, and he hasn't murdered her, so I assume it's something she doesn't want to do. Like, I got it, and I think it's tastefully handled. That drives Lucy mad. She kills herself. So he goes to Australia, hangs out with me for a bit. He comes back now under a new name because he was previously a false criminal. So now he comes back as Sweeney Todd. He's there for one thing and one thing only, and that is his wife. And if his wife is not alive, he's there for one thing and one thing only, and that is revenge. So he gets back, and then he basically stumbles into like a pie shop, and there's this baddie played by Helena Bonham Carter, and her name is Mrs. Lovett. She owns a pie shop, right? And she sees Sweeney Todd. I think she knows from the jump that he's actually Benjamin Barker. Otherwise, it's very quickly revealed that she knows he's Benjamin Barker, right? She is a simp for Benjamin Barker. I think she must have liked Benjamin Barker before the wife exited the picture, but she knows the story already. She tells him that his previous wife is, and then they start making pies together. After Sweeney Todd kills people, they start turning them into pies, all in a quest for eventually the judge to come to get like a shave, and then he'll kill the judge, and in his brain that will like heal him of the heartache. But then the plot thickens. It then turns out that Benjamin Barker's baby is actually still alive, the one that was born with his original chick Lucy, and she's being kept hostage by the judge. But the plot thickens because the judge wants to bang her.
Sorry, excuse me. What are you doing? I'm peeping on my daughter. What? Why?
Oh, don't worry. She's not my daughter.
I don't. Then that's even worse.
He is her adoptive father and also her oppressor, and also keeps her locked in a literal tower, and he wants to smash.
Look at him! A peeping Todd!
I like that.
But I also love that it's in the hallway.
Yeah.
Just for context, Alan Rickman's character, the judge, got this woman's father sent away on a false crime, basically led to her mother's suicide, and then keeps this woman locked in a cage, and then he like looks through the window as a peeping Tom for like her whole life. And then he's like surprised. He goes to like Peter Pettigrew and he's like, yo, I'm really confused because I put the moves on her and she's like not keen on me.
When I offered myself to her, she showed a certain reluctance.
And then in the greatest unintentional comic moment ever, Peter Pettigrew, instead of being like, yeah, maybe that's because you're her captor and also led to the death of her mum and fucked over her dad, he goes, oh, I think you just need a shave. I think you need a fresh spray of cologne. You need a rizz up, and then she'll want it so bad, man. It's hilarious.
Forgive me if I suggest, my lord, you're looking less than your best, my lord. There's powder upon your vest, my lord, and stubble upon your chin.
It's so good.
And ladies, my lord, are weak.
Love how cartoonishly evil they make Alan Rickman's character. His like reintroduction in this movie is him saying to like a criminal off screen, like, I don't see any chance of rehabilitation here, so we're gonna hang you by the neck. And then it hard cuts and it's like an 8-year-old boy.
Persistent dedication to a life of crime is an abomination before God and man. I therefore sentence you to hang by the neck until you're dead.
Hilarious. So anyway, yes, this movie has a very mean, dark sense of humor. I think it's in on the joke. I think you're meant to know, obviously, that like Alan Rickman's character is so cartoonishly not self-aware and evil. It's great. Getting back to how everyone is romantically involved, Peter Pettigrew in this movie is a fucking simp for Alan Rickman.
He bows to your every
Barbara, take me to it.
His name is Todd, my lord, and he is the very last word in Barbara.
There are homoerotic vibes up the wazoo. And before I get hit with like, oh, Marshall, just because two guys are like best friends, they're not gay. Like this guy is that guy, you know? He's like watching Alan Rickman pursue all the women and then going home secretly hoping that Alan Rickman will like drunk fall into his arms, right? He's like waiting for the opportunity. And that's the thing. This movie is full of people that are in love with people that they shouldn't be in love with, but they're like waiting it out, you know? Like Helena Bonham Carter waited it out and she wants her man, she wants Sweeney, and she will shit talk the ex-wife to ensure that. It's great. It's great, it's great, it's great. My favorite moment in this spoiler-free section, yes, the moment where Alan Rickman is like, she's not keen to sleep with me. I can't imagine any reason why. And Peter Pettigrew is like, yo, just like, level up a bit, dude. And it's like, you murdered her mum. She's not allowed to leave the house. There's another great thing I want you to keep in mind when you watch this movie, and it's how obsessed the movie is with barbers, with the concept of barbers, with the iconography of barbers.
See this one shine.
In this movie, there are no assassins, the police aren't doing shit, but there are barbers.
Do you see these razors?
Everybody get back!
Like the way barbers talk to each other, the way Sacha Baron Cohen's barber talks to Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street, it's like you're a legend, you know? And it's like, it's so bizarre. There's a whole song about Sweeney Todd getting his cutthroat razors back, where he sings to them like an assassin that's just got his guns back.
And I will get him back, even as he gloats. In the meantime, I'll practice on less honorable throats.
That's the thing. In this movie, they are treated like guns. They are treated like weapons. Sweeney Todd getting his hands on his cutthroat razors again is treated with the same level of seriousness of Oppenheimer getting access to the atomic bomb, right? It's just like, here it comes. Here it's coming, the impending doom, right? We've talked enough. I think Johnny Depp is great. I think his singing voice is great. I actually like that he's not the best singer. I like that he's a bit more laid back. It fits the world, right? I feel like it'd be really out of place if this dark, depressing character had the voice of a Broadway angel. I like that it's a bit more sinister and a bit more monotone. And yeah, I like it. I love Helena Bonham Carter steals this movie.
Oh, Mr. Todd, I'm so happy. I could eat you up, I really could. You know what I'd like to do, Mr. Todd? What I dream. If the business stays as good, where I'd really like to go. Don't you wanna know? Wanna see, married nice and proper.
She's got a mean streak. She lies and manipulates to get Benjamin Barker in the sack, right? Like she does. But goddamn, does she seem like a good wife. She's just obsessed with him. She just wants to, all she wants is just to make him food and help him have his little barber shop and just like be his like best teammate, you know? Like honestly, she's pretty awesome. And the way things go for the rest of the movie, it's just hard to watch. You know, you see that by the C section and he is so hung up on the past and getting revenge that he can't enjoy amazing woman in front of him, right? And she's amazing for a lot of it, except one thing which comes in the spoiler section, right? Like she's really cool. She just wants him to thrive and he can't thrive because all he wants is to slit Alan Rickman's throat in a barbershop chair. And it needs to be in a barbershop chair. He can't like poison his drink or anything. It has to be like that. All right, so before we go to the spoiler section, yeah, I think this is the movie musical to beat. And the reason I say that is because I think all the songs are used to propel the plot forward. I love La La Land, but you can cut that opening song 100%. There's not one song you can cut out of Sweeney Todd because it's all the dialogue, it's all the exposition, it's all the information on the characters you need to know, and it's a lot. There are these great musical sections in this movie where they're getting enamored in an idea and talking over each other because they're so excited, particularly in A Little Priest. You hear both of them start getting wrapped up in their idea and like having a mutual epiphany.
Now what was his good for maybe 6 or 7 at the most. And I'm sure they can't compare as far as taste.
Mrs. Lovett, what a charming notion.
Well,
Eminently
it does
practical
seem
and yet
a waste.
appropriate as always. Mrs. Lovett, how I've lived without you all these years, I'll never know.
Think
How
about it.
delectable.
Lots of other gentlemen will soon be coming
Also
for a show.
undetectable.
Why they think
How
of
choice,
all
how
that.
rare.
It's just so satisfying and the music is so powerful. There's one song that needs to be cut. There's one song that you can skip. There's one song that you go to the bathroom for, and it's that one where like the chick in the window is singing out of the window and she's like,
I don't care for this song, and luckily it's one of maybe 2 times that she sings in the film.
If I was watching a high school production of this, I would go to the bathroom during this song.
I don't know any of the lines. I don't know any of the lyrics. And that's the issue. Like the rest of these songs like burnt into my memory. There are so many great little musical moments. I think A Little Priest goes so fucking hard. It just goes so good. It's got a great sense of humor too, and I think a lot of jokes that fly over people's head. Like I love the bit where they're talking about the different type of people they're going to cook, and then due to their personality they're saying like it might taste bad. Like they talk about like cooking policemen and then they reference them as pigs, and then they're like, yeah, the meat might be too oily. Or they talk about cooking actors and then they say, oh yeah, but actors are always overdone, right? Like in terms of the way that actors overdo it. It's hilarious. And in the actual original musical, they talk about like, oh, if we cook a fiddle player, it's going to be too stringy. It's mean-spirited, it's dark, it's great. I love the song Joanna. I love Pretty Women, just like toxic dude bros singing about how much they love women while literally keeping them in like cages.
Pretty women, blowing out the candles, oh, coming out there.
But yeah, like I love the music. There are so many moments while I'll be driving or jogging or at the gym and I just have intrusive thoughts of the Sweeney Todd soundtrack. Number 1 is by Purelli's Carbonate Elixir.
Pirelli's magical elixir. That's what did the trick, sir. True, sir. True.
All the time. There are so many songs that they kind of start slow and then you hear the cogs start to turn. Another one, yeah, is A Little Priest. The history of the world, my love.
The history of the world, my love.
Yes, Mr. Todd, yes, Mr. Todd.
Yes, Mr. Todd, yes, Mr. Todd, yes, all around.
I love the way the song ends too with the at all. They just hold those notes in harmony. It's so good.
Meaning anyone and to anyone.
I love the musical section at the end where they bring back the Little Priest motif and she's talking over him and he's talking over her and she's talking about how much she loves him and he's talking about like, oh, Miss Lovett, you're a brilliant woman, and basically like love bombing her. So good. We'll get to that though in the spoiler section. I love By the Sea. But my favorite musical moment is at the end, so we're going to cut to that. So if you don't want to watch the movie and you're still here, I implore you to watch the movie and then come back, but we're in spoiler section now. So basically the movie is him going on a murder spree, trying to get the judge in. The judge comes in. His daughter that was being imprisoned by the judge runs away with random love interest number 72. I didn't really talk about him before. He's totally fine. Got a lovely voice. And then he goes down and he kills this crazy lady that's been like hanging around.
Oh, wait, you're the woman out!
He just gets pissed off at her. He's like, I'm sick of seeing you, and like kills her. And he goes downstairs and looks at her and realizes, oh my God, that's my original love. That's my pretty princess, and I've slit her throat. And then Helena Bonham Carter's like, yo, technically, I didn't say she was dead. I said she like took poison.
No, I never lied. Said she took a poison, she did. Never said that she died.
And like, you know, like she went cuckoo in the head. So like, I'm a way better wife than her.
Yes, I lied 'cause I
I have way more potential and I love you. So I know it sucks that I sort of misled you, but like you wouldn't have wanted to be with her anyway, and you've got me, so let's run away together. And then he like love bombs the shit out of her, right?
Mrs. Lovett, you're a bloody wonder, eminently practical and yet appropriate as always. As you said repeatedly, there's little point in dwelling on the past. Now come here, my love. History of the world, my pet.
Oh, Mr. Todd, leave it to me.
And he's like, yeah, I agree. Oh, Miss Lovett, you're incredible. We're going to take on the world. And why would I want to be with my original wife when I can be with you? And she's like, oh my God, thank you, Mr. Todd. Do you mean it? And then he throws her into a furnace. It's the most savage thing I've ever seen. Like, and it's so hard to watch. She so clearly wants to be loved. And yes, she did mislead him. She did avoid telling him that his wife was actually technically alive, just completely fried in the brain from taking poison, right? Like, she did lie. But I think we know where the lie came from. And that's because she loves Sweeney Todd. I don't know, because his personality isn't it, right? So it must be that Sweeney Todd D or something, right? Like, she loves him. She loves him. I don't know what he's packing. Maybe he's an absolute weapon with his hands. Like, he must be, right? He's a very good barber. So, yeah, maybe it's that. But she loves him. And she starts singing about like, oh, like, I love you. And like, I'm twice the wife she was. Like, the audacity. But also, like, I agree.
Better you should think she was dead. Yes, I like 'cause I love you. I be twice the wife she was. I love you. Could that be why you like me?
It's so good. It's my favorite musical moment of the movie is her justifying herself as a wife and him piecing together that his original wife is dead, and you hear them clash and sing over each other, and then he starts going, oh, actually, fuck it, and basically goes, yeah, I'm going to tell you everything you want to hear, we're going to have one final waltz, and then in the furnace you go, and he slams the door and like looks at her while she's burning. It's haunting. It's an audacious ending. He holds his OG woman. So I forgot to mention there is a boy who was adopted by Miss Lovett from the evil hands of Mr. Burelli. And he comes out and he's like, oh no, my adoptive mother / love interest, because again, this movie is obsessed with love and everyone being in love and everyone's connected that way. So he comes up and he's like, you killed my adoptive mother, I'm going to kill you. And then in this really great moment, and I don't think it's like a bad performance thing, Johnny Depp almost like lifts his neck up once he feels him behind him. He like... It's like he's ready to get killed. He's like, yeah, you've got me. I want to die anyway because my wife's dead and my new bitch is in the furnace. And then he just gets his throat slit, looks over his wife. It's tragic. It's haunting. It's sad. No one got the love that they wanted. I feel bad for Miss Lovett. I do. I know she lied. But, bro, like, I think she would have been an awesome wife. She should have probably gone for someone who wasn't so hung up on his ex, and also just the only thing he can think about is slitting his judge's throat. But I feel bad for her. I feel bad for her. And when you see that vision of what she wanted, knowing where the story goes on rewatch, knowing what happens to her, it's sad, man. It's really sad. And yeah, she lied. You know, everyone lies. It's good. It's sad. Anyways, watch the movie. It's really good. It's really funny. It's really dark. I just wish it was part of people's childhood the way it was part of mine. And I know that's like a fucked up thing to say because it's literally like the most dark, twisted, sinister movie like ever. But I think that's what I love about it. And I love how seriously the material is taken. I think Tim Burton crushed it. The music is mixed so well. This movie sounds amazing. And it's a small cast, but a great cast. It's a Harry Potter cast reunion, by the way. We got Alan Rickman, Peter Pettigrew, Helena Bonham Carter, Johnny Depp obviously played Grindelwald until Amber Heard and him had their whole thing. Speaking of, there's a Netflix documentary coming out of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp and the trial of TikTok. Like, are we serious? But I will do a video on it. And anyways, if you liked what you've seen, please subscribe. That's it. I could talk about this movie for an hour and a half. I actually could. There's probably so much I've missed. If you know anything about the making of or the trivia or whatever, like, please drop it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Love you. Subscribe. Goodbye.